Just hit the unfollow button. I don't need your business.
Babe, what business do you mean?
There's no doubt that she drove the final nail into this movie's coffin. She probably drove the final 2 or 3 nails into the coffin.
Yeah, right there. Zoom in right there. That's it. 163,000 rating, of which it got 1.6, not out of 5.
Following her criticism of Disney's Snow White, Rachel Zegler is furious since her show tickets have suddenly plummeted to $0. What does she believe herself to be?
I'm a narcissist.
We now think that, but just to let her know, studios will not work with her on any upcoming projects. She was also not cancelled by Hollywood. She cancelled.
For a very long time, it seems that nobody has quite captured the public's disdain like our girl, Rachel Zegler. The damage had been done.
Alright, so let me to clarify. After being selected by Steven Spielberg, Rachel Zegler is now the star of a performance with absolutely no ticket prices. Free not at all. Her performance is now available for the same price as Breathing Air. Are you implying that this wasn't some strange mishap? Not at all. This was a complete career ruin brought on by self-harm.
Love you. I love me. I love you.
I get stopped for photos every time I'm online for the Snow White ride, and I have to pretend like, oh God,
I love you.
Let's go back to 2020 and rewind the catastrophe tape. Hollywood was unable to stop talking about this girl. She was chosen by Spielberg from more than 30,000 tapes of candidates for West Side Story. She was being referred to as a prodigy and a once-in-a-generation talent. And who knows, she might have been for 5 minutes or so. At the age of 20, she even won a Golden Globe. You would believe she was given the best Hollywood starter kit by the universe. Talent, publicity, and Spielberg's favor. Here's Snow White, kid, says Disney as he enters. Don't mess it up.
At this point, she sort of feels like the poster child for it. What's really interesting is that Zegler's fall from grace has been a very satisfying watch for plenty of people.
Let's go back to 2020 and rewind the catastrophe. She went from Disney aristocracy Hollywood was unable to stop talking about this girl. In a span of 3 years. She was chosen by Spielberg so annoying for more than 30,000 tapes that you had to lower your show in order to get the money you desire. She was being referred to as a prodigy and a once-in-a-generation talent. And who knows, similar to witnessing someone attempt to prepare a steak and end up burning down the entire kitchen. She even won a Golden Globe. Let's not even point the finger at Snow White. You would believe she was given the best Hollywood starter kit by the universe. Let's discuss the point at when this train began to go awry. Publicity, the West Side Story favor. Yes, here's Snow White, kid, the musical that audiences disregarded but don't mess it up. How awful was it? On a budget of more than $100 million, it managed to pull together $76 million worldwide. It's not a lackluster performance. That is a financial sham.
Snow White just bombed at the box office again. How the hell did that happen? You've heard of a movie flopping at the box office, but have you heard of a movie flopping at the box office twice in 2 months?
What was Rachel's action? With grace, accept the failure? Obviously not. She attributed the movie's failure to white viewers, even though it was obvious that this had nothing to do with their reluctance to accept yet another woke remake. No. Racial privilege must be the cause. Not mine, but hers.
It wasn't sincere, because she's had a long history of saying woke, annoying things. Our new Snow White.
She has a long history of claiming that woke, obnoxious things are the new Snow White, therefore it wasn't sincere. Let's also discuss that phony Spanish accent. The girl rolls her R's like she's trying out for Telendu, despite the fact that she doesn't even speak Spanish. Can you not? Even real Latino fans asked. It was blatantly awkward, contrived, and performative.
So for the life of me, I don't understand why she's insisting on pronouncing Spanish words and names with a Spanish accent that she doesn't have in a language that she doesn't speak.
Puerto Ricans, Maria, Latino, Latina, Maria.
Interviews followed. The interviews, in some way, Rachel decided that her personal TED Talk had to accompany every press tour. She began analyzing West Side's narrative as though it were a post-colonial identity college thesis. She should have been reminded that it's not a dissertation, but Romeo and Juliet with dance fights.
Anyway, in one clip, she calls the Sharks, the rival gang of the Jets in this new version of West Side Story, a rainbow of the Latino community, and then struggles to name what constitutes Latino diversity.
However, West Side's kamikaze-style devastation of Disney's Snow White was only the warm-up performance. With this one, where do we even start? Rachel approached press interviews with the enthusiasm of a student just out of their first gender studies class, rather than promoting the film like a typical person would. In addition to calling the original 1937 Snow White archaic and stupid, she also claimed that the prince was a stalker. Yes, the man who saved the life of a poisoned princess by kissing her. It seems like stalker vibes.
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Yeah. Weird.
Not a bug. And before long, her trashing the original pieces of the adaptations that she was performing in became kind of common.
What followed? Anarchy. The real Disney fan forums were in complete chaos. Reddit posts with the heading, "Rachel Zegler is destroying Disney with her mouth," began to appear. Disney itself began to become alarmed. Internally, they essentially started phase 1 of the Rachel Eraser program, postponed the release of the film, and removed her off merchandise. When the firm that made you a literal princess is discreetly attempting to act as though you don't exist, you know your career is in freefall.
Not going to be safe for the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, and the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true.
I'm a narcissist.
Oh my goodness. It gets worse just when you think it can't get any worse. Here's where she essentially tries to turn off half of her audience. She posts this treasure on Instagram in 2020. F. Donald Trump, may his followers never experience tranquility. Yes, the quote is real. Thus, she has lost more than just Disney admirers. Half of the nation is there. Additionally, keep in mind that she works for Disney, the corporation that offers safety and magic to theme park parents and suburban moms. And like Regina George on a power trip, she's out here cursing.
So she came out and took a large dump on half of the country. Everyone who voted for Trump. I remember her words.
She hopes they know no peace. Or
Right.
something really,
and
yeah.
that Trump knows no peace.
She didn't stop there, though. She stepped up her efforts on TikTok as if she were running for the title of Most Unhinged Influencer of the Year. Cast your ballot for Kamala Harris. It cannot be negotiated. She concluded, if you disagree, I don't need your business. Their company is not necessary for you. Are you certain of that? Because the box office results for your film indicate otherwise. Your sales of theater tickets clearly indicate otherwise. Perhaps you should think twice before acquiring someone's business.
I just think it is terrible. She's been brainwashed into believing that Trump is this hateful figure, and to combat it, she released a bunch of hateful messages that said she hopes that Trump supporters never find peace and that Trump never finds peace.
It should come as no surprise that those remarks went viral, but not in a wow, she's so brave sense. It was more akin to a did she really just say that moment. Because there is a difference between voicing an opinion and engaging in a full-scale verbal assault on your own audience. Even liberals were giving her the side look. Disney, meanwhile, remained silent throughout. Silence isn't neutrality, though. It's strategy if you understand how public relations operates. That's code for we're working on making this disappear quietly, as one source put it. Additionally, Rachel's glare started to disappear from the promotional world more quickly than your favorite cancelled cereal.
Already been almost assassinated twice, so maybe check the rhetoric. So I attacked her, and then she came out and she said, I apologize. Like, I went too far.
The nicest part is that she handled everything by herself. No unforeseen controversy, no scandal, no leaked tapes, just her, a microphone, and an infinite supply of awful judgment. Hollywood is not even betraying her in this situation. She is shown giving Hollywood the scissors and then remaining motionless as they remove her from the picture. In record time, Rachel's glare's career slid from Spielberg's Darling to Broadway's clearance rack. She disposed of the crown in the dumpster herself. Even worse, she continues to pretend to be the victim.
She's an asshole. That's number one.
You called her a pig?
She's a pig.
Therefore, Rachel Zegler believed that returning to the stage would help her repair her deteriorating Hollywood reputation. A brave step. After burning down Disney, alienating half of America, and handling news conferences like political rallies, you would expect her to keep quiet, but she doesn't. Let's take this energy to Broadway because nothing says fresh start like dragging your drama into live theater, Rachel added, glancing at the burning rubble of her film career.
For a lot of people, the progressiveness in them felt quite forced. But a lot of Rachel Zegler's initial stupidity really could have just been chalked up to being a young person and growing up in a very, very politically polarized period of time.
She was cast as Eva Perón in Evita at the London Palladium, a part that was previously occupied by Patti LuPone and Madonna. And believe me when I say that it began with buzz before plunging right into public disgrace. The original price of the tickets for this performance was $500. $500. For that price, you would anticipate magic, wouldn't you? A once-in-a-lifetime vocal performance from a maestro. Rather, you witnessed Rachel Zegler perform the most surreal trick Broadway has witnessed in a long time.
I never want it to come off as me being ungrateful for the opportunities I have. I can also be having the greatest time and simultaneously wishing people would stop sending me death.
Imagine this, then. You spend a little cash, get dressed, go to the famous Palladium Theater, and wait for that moment in history. Argentina, don't cry for me. You're thinking, this is it. The power, the spotlight, and the chills. But hold on, Rachel isn't performing. Where is she? She's actually singing to the fans outside the theater while she's on the street. I'm not kidding. While you, the paying audience, are inside viewing the entire performance on a TV screen, she steps out onto a balcony and belts the song to the crowd, standing on the sidewalk for free. Yes, you borrowed your cousin's bootleg DVD and spent $500 to watch a fuzzy screen that looks like it was taken in 2003. Memes took off right away. My favorite. $500 was spent to view Rachel Zegler on a monitor. Broadway's peak swindle. They weren't mistaken either. People felt defrauded. No one registered for a small cast concert. There was no theater here. The TikTok experiment was badly executed.
But maybe she'll learn. You know what? Whatever I called her, it worked.
What worsened the situation? Rachel wasn't particularly awful. She was praised by critics for having a strong voice, good projection, a powerful stage presence. None of it mattered. When the event felt like one big joke, no one gave a damn about how wonderfully she sang. The damage was already done. Additionally, you could sense the desperation seeping through the curtains when ticket prices began to plummet in order to pay what you wanted. On certain evenings, it was absolutely free. That is, if you feel like it, flip a coin.
Free.
After just a few weeks, the price went from $500 to charity case pricing. It isn't a branding. It's an obituary for public relations.
You see, the movie opened on 4,200 screens back on March 21st. It did $42 million domestic opening weekend, and then it fell off by a significant 66% the following weekend. Over the next 7 weeks, its theater count would dwindle to just 310 screens.
And it wasn't just Evita who caused the situation. Oh no. This conduct also occurred during Snow White. It is said that Disney began removing her from the movie. Consider that. The lead is you. Snow White is what you're playing. Additionally, the studio is subtly reducing your screen time as if you were a backdrop tree. Furthermore, they deleted her image from merchandise, marketing posters, and even storefronts as if she had never existed. It's not subtle. Exile is what that is.
Cartoon was made 85 years ago, and therefore it's extremely dated when it comes to the ideas of women being in roles of power.
Evita's producers even acknowledged that they were sorry to cast her. Unfortunately, it stated that in order to comply with Rachel's creative directive, the entire show's concept had to be altered. She took over the production and made it worse, to put it politely. She made 2 enormous chances into major hassles for all parties. But if you believe that all of that mayhem remained behind the curtain, then welcome to Rachel Zegler's offstage PR nightmare, Dear Summer Child. Let's begin with her visit on Jimmy Kimmel Live, which was one of her most strikingly tonedy appearances. A man once sung the song, Maria, to Rachel, according to a story she shared. Indeed. From the West Side Story. Did she laugh it off when she emerged from the restroom at a Chili's? Do you have a pleasant smile? Not at all. She exited the restaurant after telling Kimmel that the encounter had ruined her evening. How are you surviving Hollywood, girl, if you can't stand a drunk fan at Chili's singing a song's lyrics?
new and improved Maria, who was just this multi-dimensional character rather than this kind of black and white individual that I think a lot of people remember from Carol Lawrence's performance or Natalie Wood's.
And it was only the first course. Cringe continued to be served by Rachel on a silver dish. She voiced her displeasure about Disneyland visitors requesting to snap her picture. Claimed she had to act as though she liked them. Yes, exactly. She made fun of the very people who helped her career. How could a Disney princess make fun of their own fans for being excited? One who believes humility is optional, apparently.
She also comments on how great the team she worked with was, which is very nice, but she also emphasizes that she isn't hyping up the film just to win awards, which feels like a bit of a weird thing to say.
Of course I want to win awards, I'm a human being.
She couldn't even be saved by her comedy. Her quips sounded condescending and icy. Her delivery was characterized as off-putting by one critic. According to another, she sounded entitled, which, to be honest, may be the best way to sum up her whole public persona.
Snow White did just that.
And you know the saying, go woke, get broke, and Disney's going to lose money on this movie. And I believe it only made less than $1 million in China.
The audience took notice. Spectators began leaving. They weren't upset. They were worn out. Why play her because she dislikes playing Snow White? That was the prevailing opinion. People stop coming when your job is to sell a dream and all you do is whine, make fun of, and act like you're better than the content.
And as her media career grew, her interviews just got weirder. Weird.
Then the tears started to fall. Actual tears. During a standing ovation during one of her Evita performances, Rachel broke down in tears. And the internet gave her the side eye rather than cheering her on. No one bought it. Accusations of phony emotion flooded comment sections. One person said, "She's acting again." Another referred to it as real-time damage control. What ought to have been a successful redemption storyline devolved into yet another PR catastrophe. Talent was no longer the focus of this. Rachel is a singer. She is capable of acting. The issue was never that. Everything else was always the issue. Her demeanor, her speech, and her incapacity to simply read the environment. She made every scene into a soap opera. Every fan becomes an afterthought, and every interview becomes a sermon.
What would you say to those who are just kind of overly critiquing the film at this point? You've worked so hard on it. All right, congrats, Rachel.
And now we see someone who is given every possible chance somehow mess everything up. One balcony stunt, one statement, and one microphone at a time. Nobody coerced this collapse. It was curated by her. She made it. She gave it as if she were revealing a work of self-defeating art. We haven't even reached the point where Hollywood formally stops calling, so let me know when you're prepared for the next round. You would assume that Rachel Zegler's phone would be ringing non-stop at this point with offers of apologies, studio deals, and possibly a charming Netflix comeback series. Not at all. Greetings from Hollywood jail, where you are just forgotten rather than cancelled. The industry uses it as a means of expressing that we're not mad. We've just finished. Rachel isn't banned in a way that would cause a major public scandal. Nobody is hauling her on live television. Behind the scenes, studios have stopped answering the phone, but she isn't being chased out of restaurants. The closet scarlet carpet was rolled up and secured. What would you say to people who are currently criticizing the movie excessively? You put a lot of effort into it. Okay. Well done, Rachel. Because of how dangerous her name has become, several studios are using a technique known as A/B testing. They play 2 different trailer versions there. One with and one without her name. And you know what? The one that doesn't have her name is doing better. Imagine being so unlikable that in a trailer, it sells better without you in it. She changed from being a great actor to perhaps not being mentioned during the recording. It's not because she lacks talent either. Nobody is denying her acting or singing abilities. The sad thing is that this is not a problem with talents. It has to do with personality. A person who causes havoc in the marketing department, controversy on set, and a social media frenzy whenever she speaks is not someone that directors want to cast. She provokes arguments rather than exhilaration, according to one director. She is wearing you out. In a field where being cautious is nearly a religion, she is a public relations liability.
What made you want to step into this world of DC heroes?
I needed a job. I'm being so serious.
The studio that formerly forced her visage onto every poster, Disney, has also joined the silent protest. She eliminated her Snow White version. Like, really? Look for toys that include her face. Posters Guion Disney stores are completely silent. They seem to have made a mistake and pressed the undo button. This goes beyond merely corporate separation. It's ghosting at the brand level. You're in the moat as well as out of the castle when the House of Mouse quits supporting you. Since Snow White is obviously not as white as snow, she is referred to as Snow White in this version of the movie. The reason for this is because she and her family survive a snowfall, which is a testament to her resilience. The only speculation that is currently going around is that she might be portraying Maria in The Sound of Music. Yes, as the public was pleading for precisely that. With the same passion that she used to brand the Princess Stalker, Rachel Zegler sings, "The hills are alive." Fans are already moaning in fear before a banner or a trailer has even been released. People are preparing for the impact even if the PR crisis hasn't happened yet. This reputational spiral has gotten that deep. No one is thrilled. They're getting ready for more chaos. What's crazy is how much the public has come to embrace her collapse. Rachel made it so simple, not because people enjoy watching others fail. The incessant press catastrophes, the finger-wagging, and the haughtiness. She essentially orchestrated her own downfall. Have you ever seen someone run into a rake and then point the finger at the ground? Rachel is that person. She isn't the antagonist in a film. She is the warning story. The walking, talking lesson on the consequences of ego overpowering empathy. She was not betrayed by Hollywood. The backlash wasn't created by the media. It wasn't like fans suddenly decided to be cruel. With each arrogant interview, politically charged post, and statement that shouted, "I'm above this role and probably you, too," Rachel did this to herself.
Snow White is called Snow White in this version of the film because, of course, she is not white as snow, is because she and her family go through a snowstorm and survive the snowstorm, and so it's a mark of her.
And don't assume that this tale will conclude with a Cinderella-style return. Let us examine the scoreboard. Spielberg found her. She was handpicked to play Snow White, won a Golden Globe, and starred in West Side Story. Then, whether on purpose or not, she set out to alienate every group that was supporting her. She expressed her distaste for the film they grew up watching to her admirers. She referred to them as stalkers of fairy tales. She made fun of romantic love. She made fun of political rivals. She made fun of fans. She made fun of nostalgia. She also doubled down after being called out. Each and every time.
Point, what had become quite obvious and evident about Rachel Zegler is that despite whatever media training she may have had, she's very good at alienating not only her viewers, but just viewers in general with everything that she says in every social media push.
Her performances are a failure. Her films are postponed. For all the wrong reasons, her interviews become widely shared. Her onstage tears are seen with skepticism. Like a marketing sickness, her name and trailers are being tested. No public support movement exists. There is only quiet, no #revival. Rachel never really nailed this one thing. This was not a malicious plot by a studio. This wasn't a campaign of online smears. After creating her own platform, Rachel Zegler yelled at everyone to leave. Rather than creating a community, she constructed a wall. She turned become a warning label rather than an inspiration. Premieres used to be brightened by her presence. PR teams now have nightmares over it. The fairy story of Rachel Zegler is over. Hit like, subscribe, and keep an eye out for the upcoming Hollywood Meltdown.